Hey, what up, boxing fans? This is the Rope a Dope Report. I am your host, Chris Carlson. I'm back with another upload. This one here is for a great fight is Saturday. So in a couple days, December 10th, I'm at the Galleon Center and on the USC campus in Southern California. So I'm really looking forward to this. Abner Mares, a former champion at featherweight, former three-weight champion, takes on Jesus Cuellar, who is one of the current champions at featherweight. Really good style matchup. Cuellar has definitely been impressive of late, the last handful of years, and Abner Mares, he's been on a downslide to his career. Obviously, we'll start with Mares and kind of break him down. Obviously, from about 2010 on his first, I think it was for what was that, bantamweight. I think it was for the IBF world title against Yanni Perez. I'm looking at it right now. Undefeated Yanni Perez. Two undefeated guys went at it. There was a draw. I really thought that Abner won that fight, but it was a very tight fight. I had it 7-5. But from 2010 till 2013, you really couldn't find much tougher of a schedule, at a weight class than the bantamweight. And obviously he went up as well to super bantam into feather. Beyond, you'd have to probably say Carl Froch, but beyond that, the consecutive string of fights were pretty damn impressive. And you really can't beat it from 2010 to 2013 for Abner Mares. Like I mentioned, Yanni Perez fought Victor Chinian, fought Joseph Edbeko back-to-back, then got an easier fight as he moved up with Eric Morale, but then fought Anselmo Moreno, who was 33-1 at the time. Of course, Daniel Ponce de Leon. And then it all came to a really abrupt ending, that run, that string of fights without a loss. They had, I mentioned the draw. But other than that, Yanni Gonzalez, back in 2013, August 24th, 2013, like I said, put an abrupt ending to that winning streak. He threw a left hand. I believe it was a left hand, right? Yeah. And it looked like it was going to go to the body. He turned it right into a perfect left hand that knocked Abner down, and then got hit again and flurried upon, and it was over. Sure, maybe he could have gotten up, but it was probably best overall that he wasn't able to continue. Great upset. That was actually for a fight that was going to lead to a big fight with Leo Santa Cruz. If you remember correctly, Leo Santa Cruz, took care of his end of the bargain on the undercard, and that was just a fight to kind of lead to a big fight in LA. So Abner had to rebuild. He took about 11 months, a little under 11 months off, came back against actually, let me look here. I think it was Aquedo. Yeah, Jonathan. And then took on just two veteran guys after that. Nothing that's going to really, make him work too much. But he was able to kind of work himself back with two bouts all the way back until 2 Augusts ago, right? Yeah, it was two Augusts ago. Late August against Leo Santa Cruz. And that was at Staples Center. Big fan turnout. I think it was over 13,000 people. And for featherweights, that's pretty damn good. You don't see too many featherweights be able to draw a crowd like that. Obviously, both of them popular in that California area, that Los Angeles, Southern California area. So that was a big fight. And early on, Abner took the fight to Leo. I mean, he was all in his grill. He was making him work. He was making him kind of look to the ref for help or complaining, whatever, making Leo very uncomfortable. Now, Leo Santa Cruz, to his credit, made some adjustments. He turned the fight around and ended up winning a very competitive, great fight but he did win clearly. So Abner Mares lost, and he had to go back to the drawing board to an extent. He wasn't able to box on the outside, I guess, and be flashy with counter punches like he did with De Leon. But when I say build back, it's only to an extent. It's not like he got knocked out or just viciously hurt over and over again in the fight. But he had to build back again, and he got the services of Robert Garcia, who is a pretty solid trainer in his own right, one of the top trainers out there. And they got to get, a couple of camps because obviously, actually, when was it? In March, Abner had a fight scheduled with Fernando Montiel, I believe. And that got postponed because Thurman got in that car accident that postponed the fight till June. Well, he switched opponents, and it was Cuellar that he was supposed to face. Now, not the Nevada, but the New York Athletic Commission has the strictest eye test around. Okay, it's been well documented now. So anyway, because it's so strict, and maybe all tests at some point will go to that. I'm not really sure. But hearing from promoters and fighters especially, I know Paulo Malignaggi, a couple other people have been kind of adamant about saying that it's kind of over the top, possibly, but maybe not. You know what I mean? Maybe not. We're talking about safety, and especially eye safety, which has been a problem throughout the boxing, community. But anyway, he wasn't able to pass that test. Now he can pass a test basically everywhere else, just not New York. So he's all good to go. They did like a special meeting with him and talked about it because this all kind of goes to the retina issue and surgery he had years ago. So that got fixed. He took some time off, fixed that, came back, and like I said, from 2010 to 2013, he had a hell of a run. So now they've actually been in 3 camps together. They've almost been together for a year, him and Garcia. So I think that helps a lot. And Mares, although he'll be out of the ring for quite some time, I think 15 months or something like that, Mares is not the type to blow up in weight. And like I said, at least he was having full camps thinking that, this is going to be a fight, not just training, but actually in camps too. So I think you'll see some ring rust, but not as much as maybe you'd see with other guys. For Jesus Cuellar, he's been on a nice string of victories. He actually, his only loss was to Oscar Escondo. I think it's Escondo. And, he actually regrouped his career as well. He enlisted the services of, Robert Garcia. And he fought with a much more aggressive style, using his power and his strength to kind of muscle in people. So he's taken on some maybe, contender, maybe like prospect / contender level guys, maybe a couple gatekeepers, and some aged veterans, obviously, like a Victor Chinian and like a Juanma Lopez. Let's put it that way. So his first loss, though, kind of breaking it down, it's kind of interesting because he is a southpaw. But his first loss, the way he fought in that fight was completely different than the one we see today. He moved a lot on the outside. I mean, a lot. He flashed a completely different style that we don't see nowadays. Oscar was able to catch him with right hands. He was able to flurry on him in combination. Jesus did get hurt and knocked down in the first round, but he was able to recover and land punches back in the third round. He was in trouble again on the ropes. At times, he was landing well off the ropes. Other times, he was kind of lunging with his shots that may have been out of desperation as well, although we see that a little bit nowadays. Um, it seemed like he was susceptible to body shots. And obviously, Abner Mares, that's his bread and butter, is the body shot. Especially during that run I mentioned from 2010 to 2013, the body attack and just his aggressiveness. I'm not sure we'll see that same aggressiveness, but I'm sure it'll be more of a mix of it. Left hand, very powerful in that fight and just in general, but not as accurate. He does miss with it a lot because, like I mentioned, he kind of lunges with it, gets a little wide, and he leaves himself open when he tries to land that big punch. And I noticed that he got knocked down and then stopped, and a lot of it was to the body where he got hurt. But some of those big punches that Oscar was able to land on Jesus were in exchange. I also noticed, like I said, the Darchinian fight and some of these other fights that he's faced since then, he's flashed definitely a more aggressive style. Now, still kind of under control to an extent. He's not just throwing 100 punches around, but he's definitely more aggressive. And that can work against him. Because like I mentioned, he's faced either prospect kind of gatekeeper contender, or he's faced the faded veteran guy. He hasn't really faced too many guys in his prime. Not to say that he's going to face a guy in his prime, because most people think Abner Mares is, on the downslide. He's not in his prime. But Darchinian was able to land a few big left hands early on. Their shot probably should have been a knockdown. And most of them, those big punches that Darchinian landed, were in exchanges, like I mentioned. He was doing a good job in that fight of using his jab and trying to, land the left behind it. But Darchinian, man, he was able to hurt him twice, like legitimately, with the left hand in that fight. So we'll see. Obviously, some keys to the Mares fight. I mean, going against Cuellar. And now Cuellar he left Robert Garcia, and now he's with Freddie Roach, which seems to be a good fit if you look at the style. Usually the style of a fighter and a trainer combined together, that can either go really well, or it can be trying to change a guy too much. And I don't think that'll be the case, because usually Freddie Roach, he may tighten up some skills and maybe tighten up some punches and try to work on that. But he favors the aggressive fighter, and he's had a lot of success with that. So it should be a good match. But Cuellar, I mean, he's looking to land that big shot. And he may be able to land the big shot because Abner's not known for his defense. You know what I mean? I think both these guys will be hurt in this fight. I really do. Some keys for Mares would be, you got to close the gap on him at times. I don't expect him to be on the attack mode like he used to be, or even those first couple of rounds with Leo Santa Cruz. I don't expect that right out of the gate. I kind of expect a more in and out approach like he did against Daniel Ponce de Leon, where he was aggressive, but he also looked to catch him in an exchange and time him and counter him. But I think he's got to be either inside or outside. I don't think he can be in the middle of the ring or right in the middle of the pocket there to be hit, because definitely Cuellar packs a punch. And, I'm talking about the left hand for Cuellar. He's a southpaw and everything like that. But Freddie Roach says one of his favorite punches that he throws is the right hook. So look for the right hook to be effective. But like I mentioned, either on the inside or outside, close the gap when you're going to be on the inside. Get to that body, because that is a clear weakness of Cuellar. Mares has to kind of get that throwback feeling to the body, where he left hand to the body, right hands, left hand to the body, left hand to the head. And obviously, with Mares, he used to be body blows or low blows, whatever. They were gonna be landed, right? And maybe you can force him to the ropes at time. Get him out of his comfort zone, much the way Oscar did. When he got on those ropes, he was not the same fighter. But Both fighters are going to have to use their jab. But there is going to be something where, like I said, he's got to smother. When in close, he's got to work the body and smother him and get inside so he can stay away from those big punches, especially the left hand, the power punchers of Cuellar. This one is going to be a tight fight. I look for this to be tit for tat the whole time. I don't see anybody winning more than 8-4, 7-5. I think, like I said, I wouldn't even doubt if both guys are on the canvas. I really think so. I think that Mares will get either buzzed or hurt within the first 3-4 rounds somewhere. But I think his overall skill level, not just being the aggressor, but some of the things he can do as far as land the combination and then be on the outside, I think he's just a better overall fighter. Now, how far is Abner out of his prime? We're going to find out on Saturday night. Either way, this is going to be a great fight. I do have Abner Mares winning by majority decision, split decision as well. Could Cuellar knock him out? Sure. Of course he could. I mean, Gonzalez did, and this guy's a big puncher. Like I said, watch out for that right hook. That's what Freddie Roach said, so I'm going to at least listen up. But this is a 50-50 fight for me. Mares has the better track record, but not of late. Cuellar has that. This is Cuellar's moment, though, to really put a notch on his resume, a really quality win that will lead to bigger wins, whereas Mares, this is his way of getting the belt, getting back in contention, and having a new chapter possibly in his career. Like I said, I got Abner Mares in a 50-50 fight. I wouldn't doubt if both guys are at least hurt, like I mentioned, or on the canvas. I really look for this to be a barn burner. Anyway, give me a follow at Rope-A-Dope Radio on Twitter. You can check out the Rope-A-Dope Radio podcast anytime on blogtalkradio.com/Rope-A-Dope Radio or subscribe on iTunes. We had a variety of opinion on this fight and the co-feature, which I'm about to do an upload next for on the podcast. So check it out. Peace.